Welcome back to the GFD or the Gym for Dummies. This is going to be the first kind of real episode where we're talking about things gym and fitness and health related. And today we're going to be going over calories. Here we are, GFD part 2, going over calories today. So, what a calorie is, this is not super important. You don't really need to have a deep understanding of what a calorie really is, but essentially it is energy. It is tracking the energy that you are putting into your body. Tracking your calories is just tracking the amount of energy you're consuming. And yeah, essentially, I put an analogy there. Your body is an engine and calories are fuel. It's pretty simple. Calories, just as a calorie is, it's not very hard to understand. It's more so how it works within your body. So let's kind of get into what calories are doing in your body. So starting off with TDEE, this is going to be your total daily energy expenditure. And this is basically how much energy is your body is using to keep everything functioning, right? So there's so many things your body has to do in a day. You have to move, you have to think, you have to create hormones, you have to repair skin cells, you have to do all these different things. And all of these things require some sort of energy. And that is essentially that, like the accumulation of all those different things and all the different calories being burned is what your TDEE is going to be. And you see, this is not exactly 100% accurate. It's kind of a breakdown of what comprises your TDEE, so your BMR, your NEAT, your EAT, your exercise activity thermogenesis, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and the thermic effect of feeding. And I'm going to go over really quick what each of these means. So starting off with your BMR or your basal metabolic rate, this is basically if you were to wake up and just do nothing all day and you didn't move a muscle, the 70 calories you would burn in just existing, right? Because no matter what you do, your heart still has to pump, your brain still has to work, your lungs still have to breathe, your hormones still have to be produced. So, all of those things that your body has to do, regardless of what you choose to do, is going to be your BMR, and it's going to be the biggest chunk out of your TDEE and what is being burnt. So, that is just literally in existing your BMR. That's going to equate to usually about 60 to maybe 70% of the daily calories you burn, depending on how active you are. Of course, it could be less if you're extremely active, but roughly. And then moving on to this is usually the second biggest piece here. This is your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is the amount of calories you burn in a day when you're not necessarily trying to exercise, but you are moving your body. You're grocery shopping, you're cleaning, you're walking, you're working, you're doing whatever. And there's so many calories you burn doing that. This is roughly going to be your total activity is roughly 20 to 30% of your daily calories burned. So this one ranges from usually about 15 to 20% of your daily calories burned. And this is a very variable part because people live very different lifestyles. You know what I mean? There's some people that are in a day to day, they get a lot of stuff done. They have very physically extensive jobs. Maybe they're just doing more in a day, perhaps. And there's people who are locked up in an office for 8 to 10 hours a day, right? And obviously, the person that is doing way more is going to spend a lot more energy doing these things, and therefore they're going to have a higher NEAT and they're going to burn more calories in a day. And this is the second one that's very variable. This is your exercise activity thermogenesis, or your EAT. This is essentially the same as your NEAT, but it is when you are intentionally exercising. It is when you are going for a run, you are working out, you are doing your cardio, you are doing essentially any form of structured exercise, playing a sport, whatever. And once again, very variable. There's people that are doing triathlete training. They're hitting two like 1 hour plus cardiovascular workouts in a day, burning upwards of 1,000 calories or way more, depending on who it is. And there's people that are sedentary and they aren't even working out at all. And yeah, obviously, the person that is doing way more physical exercise is going to burn significantly more calories because that's kind of just how that works. And then moving on to the final chunk that makes up your TDEE. This is your TEF, your thermic effect of feeding. And this is the amount of calories that you're burning in digesting your food. And this isn't like a super variable one, but Obviously, if you're eating more food, you're going to burn more calories digesting more food, right? So the less you eat, the less calories you're burning because you're digesting less food. And it's not really something to account for because it won't be super significant really on your TDEE in total, but it definitely can have an effect. And the only other really variable apart from how much you're eating is the type of macronutrients you choose to eat. Because when you eat your protein, you are going to spend more of the calories of that protein in digesting it, carbohydrates less, and then fats less, and even potentially zero. And I have the percentages listed out there. And the only quick thing I want to note about that is just because you are potentially burning more calories in eating that, it does not mean you subtract that yourself from the macronutrients or the calories on the nutrition label, because that is already adjusted to account for all of that. So it's nothing to like really concern yourself with because it's already accounted for in your eating. This one is essentially nothing to concern yourself with at all. If there's nothing you can do to affect your TEF, of course, eat a higher protein diet, but yeah, if you're hitting your macros according to nutrition labels or a calorie tracking app, then you're already hitting your calories, so you're fine. And then moving on, this is really the only like truthfully important part of this video towards progressing your progress. It is how to find your TDEE. And I'll show you guys really quick a simple way to do it. This is going to be a TDEE calculator. Super simple. You can use the link here. This is it, TDEE calculator, just Google it. All you really do, you put in age, I am 20 years old. Weight, I am 184 pounds. I am shit. Nah, come on, we got that. I will say I have a pretty active job. I do a lot of walking. I do my cardio. I work out. We'll put it on heavy exercise. I would guess my body fat percentage is around 16% right now. We'll take a guess there, and then you press calculate. This will tell you your maintenance calories. It'll tell you potentially, this of course is not going to be 100% accurate because it's just not going to be, but this would be a pretty good estimate and a good place to base off of. And we're not really talking about how to lose or gain weight in this one, but it can let you know here your macronutrients and whatnot. And we're talking about macronutrients more in the next video, so you don't really have to worry too much about this now. But this is a rough breakdown of, yeah, it essentially tells you your TDEE. It gives you a guesstimate. And it's not going to be perfect, but this is definitely going to be a good baseline to kind of set your calories around. And of course, in the future videos, we're going to talk more about structuring losing weight and gaining weight or cutting and bulking phases. But yeah, this is essentially just a good baseline rough estimate of your TDEE. And of course, the more accurate way to do this would be to structure your daily routine so that it looks extremely similar day to day. You are getting similar movement, you are hitting similar length workouts, you are doing similar cardio, you are tracking your steps just up from the health app on your phone. You are making sure those are all roughly similar every day. And then what you can do is you can set your calories to roughly what you think your maintenance would be, potentially using this as a precursor. And then you are eating at your maintenance and you are seeing what happens, right? Because if week to week you are eating at your maintenance and you are getting similar activity levels every day, and your weight is truthfully maintaining and staying pretty close to the same, because of course water weight will fluctuate and whatnot, then you are at your maintenance calories. You know what I mean? But say you eat at what your maintenance should be and your weight is going up, well, then maybe your maintenance is a little lower. You know what I mean? And that's just a way to be extremely precise about it because you are literally finding your maintenance calories, right? You're not guessing, you're not using your stats. You are using real life evidence, right? And you're turning yourself into a science experiment. And yeah, essentially, that is really all that I can say about calories before I get into macronutrients in what will be the next video and cutting and losing weight phases, I guess, which will be the videos prior. So, yeah, a calorie is a unit of energy, and your TDEE is what really matters in weight goals. And in the next video, we're going to touch on macronutrients and how they're affecting the body and how they should be consumed. And that's it for now. I appreciate you guys watching this. I'm pretty camera shy. I just want to put this in the video. I'm pretty camera shy and I'm not super used to, like, I know I'm a smart guy, but I'm not super used to trying to sound smart. Like, I'm usually used to just being okay with being smart in my head. And of course, I am okay with that. But since I am coming out here and sharing information, if you guys have any advice for me on how I can make these videos better for you, because the entire purpose of this is I had no subscriber, I had 2 subscribers, and this won't get any views. So the entire purpose of this is for me to benefit somebody. So if you have any advice on how I can make this video more beneficial for you specifically, or what you think would work better for the masses, please let me know and tune in. The macros video today is a Tuesday. I might post this on Tuesday or Wednesday. And if you're tapped in, the macros video will probably be out by Friday. Friday or Saturday at the latest. So thank you guys for tuning in. That will be next, and I will see you mother flippers then.